Hello, my name is Maddie Grubb, and for my presentation, I asked the essential question, how can art inspire change? I decided to investigate this question as my PLL because throughout the trip, I've seen many different artists and art forms used as examples when we talk about ourselves as agents of change. I've seen images used to promote change and asked myself some questions regarding art and its role in creating change. As a process for my project, I journaled about 5 essential questions I came up with to reflect on art, its role in the world, how I view it, and its role in change if I use it as my medium for change. These questions guided me through, and I ended up creating 3 art pieces, you see right here, as a reflection on my gap year. Each piece tells an impactful story from each of my core countries, and I use them as a way to experiment and explore the ways that I can be an agent of change through my art. One of the first questions I decided to investigate was, what is art supposed to do? I felt like this question was a critical first step into my project because how can I understand art's role in change if I do not understand how I view art and its role in the world? I think that art is a medium for expression. That is my definition in its simplest form. To me, art is a way to convey and share a message, any idea that you're just dying to get out and tell to the world. It conveys a visual message to get your voice heard or seen in this case. Images stick in people's minds a lot easier than words do and can easily be associated with a certain event. Art helps you gain a new perspective. The image can make you look at this idea or event in a way that you've never thought of before. It makes you think critically about the piece itself and the broader meaning behind it. What is this piece trying to tell me is a question we should all ask when looking at art or even an image we see on the news or social media. These pieces were taken and created with a purpose. Some are just harder to see than others. And one of the best things about art is it is totally up to you how you interpret it. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and that is true. No one can tell you how to view this piece. Heck, I can't even do that with my art. I might have a vision in mind, but there's no clear way that I can ensure everyone will see what I see. And that's the beautiful thing. Since there are 1,000 interpretations, there's an endless possibility for new ideas. Art inspires ideas, whether it is ideas for a new piece, the latest technology, even an idea for change. There are endless possibilities, and the cycle just repeats, inspiring more ideas with each new piece. Human ingenuity. The concept that art inspires new ideas led me to my next question. Can art alone create change? I started with the definition of art as being the expression of an idea. And the way that change starts is from an idea. Art spreads with a quick glance, and then that image is registered in your brain. I like to think of it like a logo. Like with a company logo, whenever you see it, you'll forever associate it with their product or services. I think it's the same thing with a powerful image. It sticks in your head, and you'll forever associate it with that idea or event. So how is this idea implemented? How can it make people want change? I think this is done with the way an emotion is conveyed in the piece. With the creation, the artist tries to convey an emotion or a message, and when viewed, the piece is supposed to invoke an emotional response, whether it's anger or sadness, happiness, pity, anything. From this piece will drive your next step. I think if someone feels strong enough about what they saw, it could drive them to tell others, to speak out, to even act out. And when enough people are talking about it and spreading this idea, it becomes a part of the public interest. The people want to hear more, and then the media will pick it up from there. Media will spread it, and then it'll be everywhere. I think our piece has the potential to start change and create an idea, but you need people to make it happen, to make the idea a reality. This led me to my next question. Why are images important for social movements? Images are easily spread and easily accessible by the majority of the population. With the media and the internet, these images are spread literally everywhere. They're also easily understood, since it is totally up to you how you take that message. I think images can also unify people, since they have a common thread through this image and then through this movement. They can get behind the image like they can get behind the leader. An image can also give a wake-up call to someone and when they see it, they realize, oh, it's real. Movements have narratives. They tell stories, and images enhance that story. These were all very general questions for me to answer in my journal and reflect on to get a basic understanding of my views now as art for a medium of change. Reflected on how have my views on art as a medium for change shifted over the trip. And as I thought back to my pre-TBB life, I realized this was something I'd never thought about before. Art as a medium for change is a more subtle way to promote change than the other ways that were more prevalent to me. American media spreading images and political cartoons spreading these messages in these ways, but it was never a big thing in my head. I remember in my art classes being forced to look at art and find the meaning behind it, and I always hated it. I just never saw the point in analyzing the meaning in art. I just saw it as a picture to glance at, to like or dislike, and then move on. I didn't even think about meaning in my art. I just created pieces for the joy of it and for the sake of a good grade. The only real exposure I had to art being used for social change was through the media, and more specifically, social media. It is always there, I just never paid that much attention to it. On the trip, I began drawing more in a sketchbook, having lost my art classes as the only way to create art at home. I just drew as a distraction, just for something to do. I continued to draw in South Africa and in India, art on my mind, but in the back of it. We had visited art museums in both countries, and I still had my apprehensive view about finding meaning in art. A seminar in India brought the idea of art and change together, and we had a discussion on those ideas. In Seminar 10, the essential question was, how can popular education impact social change? And in the context of this question, popular is referring to the media. We talked a lot about how the media spreads images and the association of these images with ideas, events, and social movements. The media plays a big role in spreading these messages. And after the seminar, I started thinking about art in that context. It fascinated me that they could spread these powerful messages in such a way. The idea that I could create art and pieces to communicate my research and my ideas on an issue appealed to me a lot. I ended up creating 5 art pieces for my media project in Ecuador on sustainability. So there are only 4 of them up here. In each one of them, I expressed my frustration with the oil companies, the treatment of the environment, and the unsustainable practices in the world through hidden little messages in my artwork. My passion for the environment drove me to make these political cartoons and convey a message in a way that I never had before. And the end result? It felt good. I never liked talking about my art, having people view it, or discussing the meaning in it. Setting up my gallery, and difficult to overcome the nervousness I felt at the prospect of showing my first art projects with deeper meaning. But I ended up loving it. It was amazing to see all these people looking at my art and discussing it. They were discussing the messages that I had conveyed through this form, and I saw that they understood. They got what I was trying to say and what I was trying to express. They saw my frustration and took that away from my gallery. And if I can get 20 people to look at my art and understand their message, I can do it with 200 people, and more, until we have a movement, until I can convey this emotion in all of these people, and we can have the change that we need, and maybe even start a revolution. This experience just made me want to do it again. This led me to my final question. Why is art my medium for change? I think the most important reason is that I love it. I love drawing and being able to express myself in this way. I think it is important to love what you're doing to be an effective agent of change. I also think that art is a good way for me to convey a message when my words fail me. Talking is hard, but I can show what I am passionate about through my art. Visual is better for me personally, and I might as well do what I'm good at. The best thing about art is that it can literally be anything that you want it to be. I can create through my own style and convey the messages that are important to me. The meaning that I put into my art is meant to make a statement and inspire. And I think that is one of the best things that I can offer as an agent of change. Art just makes things happen. There's no limit with my art, and I determine where it goes and what I want to happen. Now I invite you all to stand up and take a look at my gallery. These pieces were each inspired from an impactful story from each of my 3 core countries. With each of these pieces, I explore the question, what does telling these stories through this medium do for them? I started to explore how I can be an agent of change through my art, and this is my first attempt. Please take a look, and I can answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
I think they're.
We can go in.
Oh, well, it has a lot, yes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you were here. Oh.
You know, it's really cool description, but if you felt like it applied,
So good. Go for it.
Okay, wait, is it the wrong description?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Much better. Much more sense. Yes,
She says no.
Yeah.
sorry.
So she gave us Maddie, come on. You just like recovered. It's like, oh, she got it. And then yeah. Art classes in high school.
Did you guys ever talk about the sort of resource paradox? So like in countries like Ecuador and Nigeria where they've got tons of oil